Don't hate the Los Angeles Lakers, the Atlanta Braves, and many other teams. But what makes us unique, we have the most policies out of every insurance company out there. We're number one when it comes to that. And in addition to that, we are a union-based insurance company, national income. That means we work for unions, we help protect veterans, we help protect teachers and firefighters, police officers, and people all across America, and we give them union-based benefits. What I have here, for everyone that wants it, we have a $2,000 accidental death and dismemberment policy that you can get for free just for stopping at the table and coming by. Now, I know $2,000 is not a lot of money, and I know I'm about to be done, but here's what's most important. How many of you would not turn down $2,000 if it showed up at your doorstep right now? That's what I said. So come on over to the table, get that for free, learn about the benefits. We can set up a simple consultation and just see how we can help you to fill your needs at the time that's best for you. Most importantly, I'm going to say this, and this is extremely important. Information without application leads to devastation. Let me say that again. Information without application leads to devastation, but information with application leads to exaltation. You get to choose which Asian you want. Frustration, devastation, or exaltation. The choice is yours. Application is the evidence of learning, not recitation. Application. Make sure that you apply what you're learning in this conference. Whether someone got the ticket for you or you paid your hard-earned money to get that ticket, take advantage of the information, because the only way you're going to have transformation is through application. God bless you guys, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Appreciate you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we are ready for round two. So wrap up your conversations right now with all your vendors and take a seat, get nice and cozy. But don't get too cozy. So please, everyone, start making your way to the to your tables. And before we actually get into this, we gotta shift the energy a little bit, because you know this whole thing is a bit of this. You actually are living your journey in your movie right now. You're writing the script, and so there's a beginning, middle, and end. And right now we're in the middle of your story right now. And so as we start shifting, you have the food in your belly. It's that time when the itis kicks in. We start getting a bit tired. You start leaning up against the table. But we're not doing that today because you're here in the room. You chose to be here. So we got to get ourselves ready. So everyone on your feet. Everyone up and on your feet. Yes, on your feet. Don't roll your eyes at. Yes, I'm looking right. I'm looking in the windows of your soul. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. On your feet. On. Yes. You think I wasn't talking about you, but I was looking at her. Yeah. Everyone on your feet. Let's go. On your feet. Let's go. On your feet, you gotta get this body ready. Understand this thing about the whole healing process and taking care of yourself. If you're not in the optimal energy, the optimal physiology, it's hard to heal. So you can do it begrudgingly, or you can say, I'm here today for another hour or two or three. I'm gonna do something different. So if you're ready to do something different, let's do it. So inhale in, stretch your arms up, wiggle your hips a little bit, get that food to roll down. There you go. Stretch it out, and exhale, let your arms fall back down. There you go. All right. We're going to do it one more time. Inhale in, arms up, both arms up, Wiggle those hips, wiggle those intestines, get the food to go down. And then exhale on out. We'll do it one more time. We're going to inhale, you put your hands on your hips, and you're going to make it funky. Roll it on out. Get the legs, the thighs, get it all moving. All right, there we go. You can have a seat now. So at the end of the day, taking care of yourself is doing those small things. That was 2 minutes. To get your body moving, to get your blood flowing, to get your mind activated for round two. So I have the distinct pleasure of bringing out the queen, the distinct pleasure, the mastermind, the dreamer. And for anyone out there who's kind of not knowing where to go or where to start, just start. Just start. You know, they say that a bamboo seed will sit in darkness for years before it actually emerges the soil. So just start. You don't know how long it's going to take you, but it doesn't matter. Just start. So today we have Shelly Fanfan, who is the creator, the visionary, the founder of this organization. Manhattan-born, Queens-raised, Haitian-American, driven by values of honesty, ambition, and spiritual centeredness, the proud mother of Atana and Philippe, she holds a bachelor's in psychology from the University of Central Florida, go Knights, and a master's in mental health counseling and human services and systems from FSU. As the founder of Ask Shelly Consulting, LLC, she partners with corporations and organizations to maximize productivity. An esteemed emotional intelligence expert and ordained minister, Shelly empowers others towards total life prosperity in her Live in Their Smile philosophy through therapy, speaking, and their weekly Ask Shelly show. Now we ain't even done yet. I'm talking about you. Her community leadership includes serving as a board chairwoman for the House of Hope Orlando and the parliamentarian for the Greater Haitian American Chamber of Commerce, dedicated to advocating against human rights trafficking and mentoring entrepreneurs. She believes faith enables us to overcome any obstacle. Now, for this one, everyone back on your feet, because if it weren't for her, no one would be here right now. Everyone on your feet and give a round of applause for Shelly Fan. You can do a dance too.
I can't hear the music. Oh, now I can. I'll take this. How are you guys doing?
So fancy.
Your gate agent for flight 2026 to your breakthrough. Before we start our pre-boarding process, I would like to establish a few rules, 5 to be exact. Are you ready to hear what these rules are? Number 1, somebody say 1. This flight is only for humans who carry greatness and genius on the inside of them. Is that you? Rule number 2. In order to board this flight, you must be willing to leave your baggage behind. Your ascension, your elevation, your takeoff requires that you are intentional about releasing the weight. You must be willing to get light before you take flight. Rule number 3. This is a one-way flight. There is no returning back to where you started. The purpose that is on the inside of you cannot go backwards, void of what it was sent to accomplish. There may be turbulence along the way, but U-turns are not permitted. Number 4, you must show proof of your preparation. Our present pays for our future, and you must have evidence that you prepared and did all within your natural and divine capacity to arrive at your destination. And the final rule: before boarding this flight, you must prove that you are who you say you are. No imposters, no biters, no copycats or identity thieves will be permitted to board this flight. Only originals, one-of-a-kind, uniquely gifted individuals who know who they are and what they carry will be allowed to board. Now the rules for this flight 2026 have been made clear. Are you ready to board? When we talk about elevation, we have to understand that there is no elevation without healing. Yesterday, we talked about the gap. the gap between where we are and where we could be. And oftentimes, what bridges that gap is a healing process. For the past 28 years, I have had the opportunity to partner with people on their healing journeys that fall on the entire spectrum of mental health. From individuals who committed heinous crimes as a result of being insane, parents, mothers who drowned their own children as a result of mental illness. I have worked with pedophiles who had only one dream, and that is to not live to see another day. I have had the opportunity to work with human sex trafficking survivors and those who were on the perpetrating side as well. I have had the opportunity to work with those who could not survive or release themselves from the grip of addiction. I have worked with individuals. I have worked with children. I have worked with adults on the autism spectrum. I have had the opportunity to work with very high functional men and women who just had very minor emotional challenges. And in all these years of experience, there are these observations, clinical observations that I have had, trends that I have seen over the years that I want to talk about today. This conference, Teach Me How to Heal, was a prophetic word all of 2021 and half of 2022. All big things start small. Small hinges swing big doors. I may not have had a strategy. I may not have had the certainty, but I had the willingness. I understood that we needed a process, an opportunity to truly learn very specific skills that gives us an opportunity to access a greater version of ourselves. I know it sounds great. I know it sounds motivational. I am speaking the truth. No matter where you are on the spectrum of success, there is a greater version of you. I'm going to take this time to talk about, while I can talk about many trends, I'm going to highlight 5. And this is what I would like for you to do, because this is meant to be a learning session. I want you to create 3 lists. One list is going to be your red list. The second is going to be your yellow list. And the third is going to be your green list. As I go over these 5 different areas, you're going to assess yourself. And you're going to assess whether this skill or this area is something that is a red for you. It's a traffic light assessment is what we call it. The things that are red are things that you can honestly say, I am at a dead stop when it comes to this. I need help. There is no movement when it comes to this. If you give yourself a yellow, you are essentially saying that I acknowledge that this is an area where I need help and I am slowly making progress. And if you give yourself a green or place a certain skill on green, it means I'm riding lovely. I do very well with this thing. I could write a book about it. I can teach a class on it. That's what that means if you give yourself a green. So you are giving yourself a traffic light assessment for each observation on where you think you're functioning, red, yellow, or green. Is the class ready? You got your list out? You got your pen out? The first observation, I am talking about trends that I have seen are common in the 28 years of the work that I do, things that have caused people to really be stuck in their emotional health. Number one, an inability to manage thoughts. An inability to manage thoughts. In order to be all that you are called to be, you must master the management of your thoughts. You have to be able to manage how you think. Understand this: thoughts charge your emotions, and your emotions influence how you choose, how you show up, how you behave, the energy that you exude. Let's bring it back to the beginning of the formula. Your thoughts charge your what? Emotions. Your emotions influence how you choose. So if you want to change how you choose, you have to change how you think. If you want to change how you feel, you have to change how you think. It all goes back to how you think. I use this as an analogy often and did so just yesterday during our breakouts. I want you to think about you getting up in the middle of the night. You go to the kitchen because you can't sleep to get a glass of milk or perhaps a shot of vodka, whatever puts you to sleep. And you notice that your front door is jammed open. Someone is trying to get in. What do you do? Did you say shoot him dead? Oh, okay. I said, oh, we need a whole nother session, which I guess that's okay, right? And so my assumption is that each and every one of you would do everything in your power to make sure that that intruder does not get into your home. You would put your weight, you would put all your strength in there because you're not gonna let this person come in and take my stuff or hurt my spouse or hurt my children. You would do everything in your power to keep that intruder out. That represents your thoughts. You would fight to keep an intruder out of your home, but you would allow that thought that tells you that you are not ready, that it is not time, your time has already passed, that you will allow that thought to get into the driver's side of your vehicle. All of us are on a life journey. All of us. We may be going at different speeds and maybe different directions, but what's different is that we are not all driving our vehicle. When you get to a point where you allow a thought to guide how you choose or allow your emotion to get into the driver's side of your life vehicle, you have lost control. There are 3 R's, 3 things that you can do to a thought to ensure that it doesn't get planted. See, a thought is powerful when you leave it alone. Thoughts are powerful when you leave them alone. We got to push back. We have to reframe. You have to get curious about what it is you're thinking. The 3 R's. The first R is reframe. This is when you take the thought, you add a positive spin on it, you restate it, you take it out of the frame and go to Michael's and buy a better frame. Reframing a thought and doing so consistently can rewire how you think. And this is the beautiful thing about neuroplasticity. You do not have to believe it. Faith does not come by believing. Faith comes by hearing. You may not believe it. That's not necessary. What's necessary is restating and reframing and doing it again and doing it again and affirming that you are ready, affirming that you are enough, affirming that you are beautiful, affirming that no one else has competition in your lane, and doing so over and over and over again will strengthen you. Studies show that stating affirmations within the first 20 to 30 minutes of waking up will increase the chances of that thought becoming a belief system. Why? Because within the first 20 to 30 minutes of waking up, the reception centers of your brain are waiting for you to command it to build expressways between what you say out of your mouth and the destination. It works, taking dominance over how you think. And sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes those thoughts will still come in. And when you cannot reframe it, you have an opportunity to respond differently to them. The second R is replace, because you cannot argue with a lie. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. And so we have to tear it down. And what is the truth? I call it a hat. What is honest, accurate, and true about that thought? Get curious about what it is you're thinking, because most of the time thoughts happen in patterns. What consistently shows up for you? I'm not ready. I'm not enough. I am ugly. Someone else is better. Someone else is doing it. Someone could do it better than me. No, that is not the truth. That's replace. We can't do anything with a lie but replace it. And the third is reprioritize. Sometimes we give importance to thoughts that are true because it's just not helpful. An example of that is while Brian was reading my bio, I could have been sitting at the side contemplating on what could happen if I go on stage and forget what it is I want to say. What are the chances that I would forget everything that I had planned to say? Is it a probability? It's a probability. So there's some truth that there is a chance that I can go up on this stage and forget what it is I am going to say. But how helpful is it for me to be thinking that right before I step onto the stage? We have to start taking that priority level of 10 and bringing it down to a 3, 2, 1, or 0 when the thought is not helpful. When the thought is not energy giving, it doesn't move you from one place to another. Poor self-awareness. There is a particular study, and I'm going to botch it. There's a particular study on self-awareness where they have about 100 adults, or I think the sample was maybe 1,000 adults in a room. And then they question them about their level of awareness. And they say, how aware are you? And when they ask all of these individuals this question, 89% identified themselves as aware. They took those same individuals and had them sit with psychiatrists and psychologists and other mental health professionals who tested them for their self-awareness. And what do you think that percentage went down to? That 89% went down to 12%. There are 12% of adults in the United States of America are self-aware. And so what we often find in this process of recovery are people who really do not know themselves. There is a process, a therapeutic process that you can go through in order to maximize your self-awareness. I want you to think about 4 states of awareness. 4 states. It's called the Johari window. In one quadrant are things that are known to you and things that are known to this world. So what I know, you know. And we're all good. I know I'm impatient. You know I'm impatient. We're all impatient. The second quadrant are things that are known to me and unknown to you. It's secret. I keep it to myself. Nobody knows. And I have the opportunity to put a mask on and continue to live whatever it is I'm living, a lie over perfection, whatever it is. The third are things that are unknown to me and known to everybody else. Everybody else sees the woundedness but me. Everybody else sees the deficits but me. Everybody can feel the areas that I need to heal from but me. And the last are things that are unknown to me and unknown to others. Sometimes we don't even know our fullest potential. Things that we have not even scratched the surface on. You got to really think about these different quadrants and where do you land? So many of us operate with so much that's known to us, unknown to others. What's the secret? What keeps you from being vulnerable? Then there's 3, poor life management. Just existing in life without managing it. There's something called a wheel of life. And the wheel of life is basically when you have the opportunity to truly assess your functioning on many different domains. And if we can get that second graphic up or the image up, it's literally called a wheel of life. It gives you the opportunity to really think about where am I at when it comes to spirituality? Where am I at when it comes to joy, social life, relationships? You take some time. And this is what you do. If you put a dot at the middle of the circle, that means that you are highly deficit in that area. So for home cooking, you would find where you fall on the line. If you're not cooking at all and Popeyes is what you got on your every day, then you're going to put the dot right smack in the middle. But if you think, I'm kind of halfway there, you'll put the dot halfway down the line. And if you think you're doing great at that, you put the dot all the way at the edge of the circle. And when you do that for each area, you draw the dots and see what your circle looks like. And after you see your circle, it gives you an opportunity to truly assess the areas of your life that need the most attention, the wheel of life. We often have these substance-free beliefs, things that you believe and things that you are so convicted of and it has no basis. I remember counseling a woman who was so dark and she was experiencing suicidal thoughts. She was the daughter of bishops and she was away for college and she just felt so defeated because she went to a couple of parties and liked it. She drank at these parties and she felt so conflicted. I'm ashamed of myself. And so I asked her, why are you ashamed of yourself? She says, because I'm drinking. I said, okay, tell me more. No one in my family drinks. I said, tell me more. She's like, well, it's wrong. I said, tell me more. And what do you think happened? We just kept on talking and kept on talking, and there was no substance. She was not able to tell me what was wrong with that behavior, yet she was carrying that shame and judging herself. You cannot be convicted to things that you do not understand. And we walk this walk indoctrinated by everybody else, and we really don't have substance for why we think and feel and believe the ways that we do. Substance-free beliefs, no true substance. And without true substance, there can be no true conviction. And the very last is affect regulation, the inability to manage emotions. There's a couple of things that I want you to hear. Emotions, feelings, moods, and expressions are in constant pursuit of equilibrium. With or without you, it tries to achieve some level of equilibrium. In life, it is essential to regulate this process. Who taught you how to regulate your emotions? There's auto-regulation. That means that this is just something that you automatically do to manage your emotions. It's not something that you can even think about. There's external regulation. I use my spouse to help me regulate, and that could be draining to the person who is regulated in that relationship. There's co-regulation. We do it for each other. Understand that in order to come out of auto-regulation, it would mean that you would have had to learn that from your caregivers. What example did you have when it comes to how you manage your emotions? Perfect example of ways to really raise a dysregulated adult. In childhood, kids fall, and we smile and laugh because we don't want them to cry. You okay? Come on. Or we say, don't you cry. Don't you cry. Often, babies will auto-regulate. One of the ways that they auto-regulate is that they break eye contact. When they break eye contact, these are babies. No one taught them to do that. In breaking eye contact, they are regulating. What is one of the first things we do when we start crying? We close our eyes. But us as parents, what do? Look at mommy, look at mommy. We have to engage in a process where we are truly unlearning those things that have caused us to grow farther and farther away from being regulated adults. And I wanted to invite Maribel Rodriguez up to the stage to talk about how you can, as adults, learn regulation skills, because there is no breakthrough without those skills. We'll do it for 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Maribel Rodriguez here, and I specialize primarily in dialectical behavioral therapy. Has anybody ever heard of that before? All right, so hopefully a couple of you. The word dialectical in and of itself means where two things that seem like opposites can both be true at the same time, or as we like to say, it can have kernels of truth, right? This is especially important when we primarily grow up in a world where things are good and bad, right and wrong, right? We grow up in churches, we grow up in our families, good girl, oh, that's a good boy, right? And kind of what Shelley was saying, we have to unlearn some of these things, because ultimately that doesn't really help us learn how to do that regulation piece she talked about. So DBT was developed back in the 80s by Marsha Linehan. And the reason she developed dialectical behavioral therapy was primarily because she found that there was a deficit in the community on helping to heal very highly dysregulated individuals, right? And so DBT primarily focuses in 4 areas, right? We focus on emotion regulation, just the way it sounds, right? Learning to regulate your emotions, but more than that, learning to change your emotions, right? Learning how to change your thoughts that fuel those emotions, as she talked about, right? And then there's distress tolerance. You might have heard this idea of window of tolerance. What that means is just that I have an ability to tolerate discomfort. Life is uncomfortable. We are going to go through uncomfortable things, and an ability to increase our tolerance of discomfort without making our situation worse is incredibly valuable, especially as adults, but at any age, right? There's where the impulsivity comes from. There's where things like self-harm, suicide ideation, all kinds of things fall into that, where, as she said, I'm just trying to feel better. I'm just trying to get comfort. And if I haven't created a window of tolerance, it becomes increasingly difficult for me to feel sort of release, if you will, right when I'm uncomfortable. And again, we're always uncomfortable in some way. The other one is interpersonal effectiveness skills. Everybody needs these. The ability to be more effective in relationship, right? Learning how to not just get your needs in relationship, but also learning how to ask effectively to get those needs met. It's learning how to respect other people, but also respect yourself in relationship. Learning how to effectively say no. Learning how to effectively ask for what you need. The last one is mindfulness, right? Mindfulness is underneath all of it. If I don't know what I'm feeling or thinking, I'm not going to be able to choose, right? I cannot change my thoughts, behaviors, and emotions if I don't know what's driving them, right? What's underneath my urge to yell? What's underneath my urge to withdraw and avoid when this conversation gets uncomfortable, right? That's that mindfulness piece, right? I can feel, right? Feel is a sensation, it's an emotion. I can feel an emotion, I can feel angry. That doesn't mean I have to become angry. That doesn't mean I have to start yelling, right? DBT skills are life skills. Obviously, I love DBT. I'm a little bit biased, but they really are life skills, right? I have never met anybody who can't benefit from DBT skills, right? Even very high functioning adults. We've heard from a lot of really, really successful and powerhouse people, powerhouse speakers, right? But all of them can say at one point, even when they were successful, recognizing I wasn't really connected to myself. I wasn't really connected to the part of me that knew my identity, right? And so some of that is that mindfulness piece, right? Have you ever driven your car and got somewhere and thought to yourself, I don't even know if I can tell you what the car next to me's color was, right? What at that red light, what was the color of that car, right? Did I even see what type of car? That's that mindlessness piece, right? We constantly walk around mindless. Sometimes when people hear the word mindfulness, they think meditation. And certainly that is a way to be mindful. But ultimately, mindfulness is learning to know what you're feeling and thinking at any given moment without being swept away by it. All the moments, right? All the time, being able to check into yourself. I often say that DBT is like a brain training program. Shelley gave some really, really good practical ways where you can change and get a hold and really perfect the gift to like know what you're thinking and not just know it, but change it. And DBT does that, right? We look at your thoughts, we look at your behaviors, we look at your emotions, we look at all of it, right? Because they're all connected. What I choose, how I behave is affected by my feelings and by my thoughts. Right? And they're always influencing one another. They're not linear. They are very cyclical, right? It's always influencing one another. So that's what DBT works on. We work with children. We work with adults. We work with families, parent coaching, because again, there's a lot of things that we have learned through our caregivers that we have to unlearn. And there's a lot of things that drive what we do that we don't realize it until we start talking about it and thinking about it. Like Shelley said, you can ask yourself, not why, right? That's the tendency. The tendency is to say, why did I do that? Just a quick reframe is what? What caused me to do that? What was I thinking? Not why did I feel that way, but what happened to make me feel that way? What happened to make me think that might be true? So again, it's life skills, 4 major skills that you will learn, and it is skill-based. That's one thing. DBT is individual therapy, it's group therapy, it's what we call phone coaching, and then a case consultation team, which is therapy for the therapist. That's what makes up an encompassing DBT program. While it was originally created for people that had high emotional sensitivity, high emotional reactivity, really it's effective for anyone, especially I would say in our day and age, where more and more people struggle, right, with socialization. More and more people struggle with isolation. More and more people struggle with difficulty in relationship, right? We have to learn how to move towards the discomfort. Where you are is here. Where you want to be is here. And in between that is discomfort, right? And if you don't learn how to push through the discomfort, you're not going to get to where you want to be. So if you want to know more about DBT, come find me. My website, maribelsharinghope.com. Happy to talk to anyone. I lead groups for, again, individuals, families, young adults, and even high-functioning adults, because we know, again, the secret sauce, if you will, to success and always leveling up is your ability to increase your ability to know yourself and manage yourself, manage your thoughts, manage your emotions. What you say is what is true. So thanks so much.
So this is how we bring what we are doing to a very practical place. Healing can be practical, and that's what the breakout sessions are for. So that not only are we getting motivated and inspired, but that we are learning very specific skill sets. This morning, you chose one of 4 rooms. And when you registered, you committed to where you were going for the afternoon. The dots on your bracelet determine where you are going next. Can you identify the dot that's on your bracelet? Is there anyone that does not have a dot on your bracelet? Teach me how to heal. Teach me how to heal. Healing doesn't come natural for everyone. As a matter of fact, for most people. And that's what these sessions are about. Some of you chose the man cave. How many of you chose the man cave? In the man cave, you guys are going to have the opportunity to talk about those unique challenges that are very specific to men. Men pouring into men in a safe space. If you have chosen the man cave, you're going to be in the Quintine Building, room 100, and there are volunteers to get you there. Some of you chose trauma and addiction. That's a yellow dot on your bracelet. And if you chose trauma and addiction, you're going to walk over to the business building, room 115. If you chose thought management and the Moss method with Dr. Fred, you would have a green dot on your bracelet, and you're going to the business building, room 120. For those of you who selected stress management, you have a red dot on your bracelet. That's business building, room 223. And for those of you who are ready to thrive in your relationships, you chose the relationship success breakout session. That's a purple dot. You're going to the business building, room 321. Again, man cave. Quintine Building, room what? 100. That's the orange dot. Trauma and addiction, yellow dot. Business building, room 115. Thought management and Moss method, that's the green dot. Business building, room 120. Stress management, red dot. Business building, 223. Relationship success, purple dot. Business building, room 321. We're breaking out into those sessions right now. That's about an hour of learning the very specific skill sets that you need to really maximize your healing and your functionality. Go ahead and make your way to your breakout sessions. We will see you in 1 hour. I have a